Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about something that affects every part of your life: habits. From brushing your teeth in the morning to checking your phone before bed, habits shape your daily routine more than you might realize. But here's the big question: why are habits so hard to change? Maybe you've tried to eat healthier, exercise more, or stop procrastinating. You start with strong motivation, but after a few days or weeks, you go back to your old behavior. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. The good news is that this is not just about willpower. There is real science behind habits, and once you understand it, change becomes much easier. Let's begin with a simple idea. A habit is a behavior that your brain has learned to do automatically. When you first learn something new, like driving a car or learning a language, your brain has to work hard. You think about every step. But over time, with repetition, the action becomes easier. Eventually, you don't have to think much at all. That's when it becomes a habit. This process is very useful. Imagine if you had to think carefully about every small action every day. Your brain would be exhausted. Habits help save mental energy. They allow your brain to focus on new or complex tasks. So habits are not bad. In fact, they are necessary. The problem is that not all habits are good for us. Now let's look at how habits are formed. Scientists often describe habits as a loop with three parts: cue, routine, and reward. The cue is a signal that tells your brain to start the behavior. It could be a time of day, a place, a feeling, or even another action. For example, feeling stressed can be a cue. The routine is the behavior itself. This is the habit you perform. It could be eating snacks, checking social media, or going for a walk. The reward is what your brain gets from the behavior. It could be pleasure, relaxation, or a sense of control. The reward is very important because it teaches your brain that this behavior is worth remembering. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you feel bored. That's the cue. You pick up your phone and scroll through social media. That's the routine. You feel entertained or distracted. That's the reward. After repeating this loop many times, your brain starts to connect boredom with phone use automatically. Over time, this loop becomes stronger and faster. Eventually, you don't even notice the process. You just act. Now, here's where things get interesting. Your brain loves rewards. When you get something enjoyable, your brain releases a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine makes you feel good, and it also helps you remember what caused that feeling. This is why habits can become so powerful. Your brain is always looking for ways to get rewards quickly and easily. If a habit provides a fast reward, your brain will prefer it, even if it's not good for you in the long term. For example, eating junk food gives you immediate pleasure. Exercising gives you benefits too, but they are slower and less obvious at first. So your brain may choose the easier, faster reward. This leads us to one of the main reasons habits are hard to change. Your brain is designed to repeat what feels good and avoid what feels difficult. Another important factor is that habits are stored in a deep part of the brain. This area works quickly and automatically. It doesn't think about long-term goals or consequences. It focuses on efficiency and speed. That's why even when you know something is not good for you, you might still do it. Your conscious mind says, "I should stop," but your habit system says, "This is what we always do." So, if habits are so strong, does that mean we can't change them? Not at all. But it does mean we need to be smart about how we try to change them. One common mistake is trying to remove a habit completely without replacing it. Remember the habit loop: cue, routine, reward. If you remove the routine but keep the same cue and need for reward, your brain will look for another behavior to fill the gap. For example, if you try to stop eating snacks when you're stressed, but you don't find another way to relax, you will probably go back to snacking. A better strategy is to keep the cue and the reward, but change the routine. Let's go back to the stress example. The cue is stress. The reward is feeling relaxed. Instead of eating snacks, you could try a different routine, like taking a short walk, listening to music, or doing deep breathing. If the new routine gives you a similar reward, your brain can start to accept it. Another key idea is awareness. Many habits happen without thinking. So the first step to change is to notice them. You can ask yourself simple questions. When do I do this? What do I feel before I do it? What do I get from it? When you understand your habit loop, you have more control. You can see the pattern instead of just reacting to it. Environment also plays a big role in habits. Your surroundings can make a habit easier or harder. For example, if you keep unhealthy snacks on your desk, you're more likely to eat them. If your phone is always next to you, you're more likely to check it. But if you change your environment, you can change your behavior without using much willpower. You could put healthy food in a visible place and hide junk food. You could leave your phone in another room while working. You could prepare your gym clothes the night before. These small changes reduce the effort needed to make better choices. Now let's talk about motivation. Many people believe they need to feel motivated to change their habits. But motivation is not always reliable. It comes and goes. Instead of depending on motivation, it's better to focus on systems and routines. Make the new habit as easy as possible. If you want to start exercising, don't begin with 1 hour every day. Start with 5 or 10 minutes. The goal is to build consistency, not perfection. Small actions may seem unimportant, but they create momentum. Once a behavior becomes a habit, it requires less effort. Another useful idea is identity. Instead of focusing only on what you want to do, think about who you want to be. For example, instead of saying, "I want to run," you can say, "I am a person who runs." This small change can affect your decisions. You start to act in a way that matches your identity. Each small action is like a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Now, let's be honest. Changing habits is not easy. There will be days when you fail. You might go back to your old behavior. That's normal. The important thing is not to give up completely. One mistake does not erase your progress. What matters is returning to your new habit as soon as possible. Think of it like learning a language. You don't become fluent in one day. You practice regularly, make mistakes, and improve over time. Habits work in a similar way. Another helpful strategy is to track your habits. You can use a notebook or an app to mark each day you complete your habit. Seeing your progress can be very motivating. It also helps you stay consistent. You might also find it helpful to connect your new habit to an existing one. This is sometimes called habit stacking. For example, after you brush your teeth, you could practice a few minutes of stretching. Or after you make your morning coffee, you could read a page of a book. By linking a new habit to something you already do, you make it easier to remember. Let's go back to the main question: why are habits so hard to change? We've seen several reasons. Habits are automatic, they are connected to rewards, they are stored deep in the brain, and they are influenced by your environment. All of these factors make them strong and stable. But we've also seen that change is possible. By understanding how habits work, you can use that knowledge to your advantage. You can identify your cues, change your routines, and keep the rewards. You can design your environment to support your goals. You can start small, stay consistent, and focus on your identity. In the end, habits are not your enemy. They are tools. If you build good habits, they can make your life easier, healthier, and more productive. So next time you feel frustrated with a habit, remember this: it's not just about willpower. It's about understanding your brain and working with it, not against it. That's all for today's episode. I hope you found it helpful and interesting. If you did, try to observe one of your habits today. Just notice it. That's the first step toward change. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.